You remember a number you once dreamed about. You told yourself, if I just made that much, I would feel safe. I could finally relax. Then, one day, you arrived, and for about a week, it felt amazing. Then it quietly became normal. The relief faded, and the old fear came back wearing a new outfit. Suddenly, there is a new number, a little higher this time, and you are chasing that one instead. You are not greedy, and you are certainly not ungrateful. You work hard, you are careful with your accounts, and yet there is this low, constant hum that says, not yet, not enough, keep going. That hum affects people who are genuinely struggling to make rent, and it affects people with comfortable salaries and overflowing savings accounts. Feeling like you are always a little behind is a glitch in human cognitive wiring. It is not a mathematical problem you can solve by simply earning more money. Let's look at why your brain keeps moving the finish line. This chart illustrates a process psychologists call hedonic adaptation. Your brain adapts to almost everything, good and bad. When you get a raise or buy a bigger house, the joy is real, but it fades quickly. Notice how the income line steps up, but your expectation line immediately rises and swallows the dap. That new salary that felt like a dream last year is now your absolute baseline. You also don't judge your wealth in a vacuum. You evaluate it against a reference group. As you earn more, your environment upgrades too. You get a new job, a new neighborhood, new friends. You look around and see a wealthier crowd. This creates a strange paradox. You can be objectively highly successful, yet suddenly feel like the poorest person in the room. Studies show people often prefer to earn less in absolute dollars, provided they out-earn the specific people around them. Because your internal goalpost moves in exact tandem with your career progress, you end up running at a sprint just to stay in the exact same emotional place. We tell ourselves, I will feel rich when I hit this target. This is the arrival fallacy, the false belief that achieving a future milestone will deliver a state of lasting contentment. Arriving at a goal does not give you a peaceful plateau. It gives you a quick spike of dopamine. Almost immediately, your brain asks, okay, what's next? And scans the horizon for the next target. The feeling of safety you were chasing was never actually attached to the number. That is why the number completely fails to deliver peace once you achieve it. Long before you had a bank account, you absorbed silent, invisible beliefs about money during childhood. Psychologists call these money scripts. Two dominant scripts drive financial anxiety. The first is money status, the deep-seated idea that your personal worth equals your net worth. The second is money vigilance, the belief that you can never have enough to be safe. When you tie your personal validity to your net worth, you are no longer trying to fund a life. You are trying to prove you are an acceptable human being. That turns financial planning into an unwinnable game. If your internal script demands you must worry in order to be safe, no amount of cash will register as safety. The script is doing the measuring, not the bank balance. Psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky identified a principle called loss aversion. They proved that human beings feel losses about twice as intensely as we feel equal gains. Because of this bias, your brain naturally hyperfixates on what is missing. You stare intensely at the gap between where you are and the next goal, completely ignoring the massive distance you have already climbed. You feel the lack loudly and the progress quietly. This psychological blind spot is compounded by a practical one, lifestyle inflation. Every time your income rises, your spending quietly creeps up to match it. The actual breathing room at the end of the month stays exactly the same. You earn more, yet you feel the exact same financial squeeze. To your anxious brain, this provides false proof that you still don't have enough. Living this way carries a brutal cost. You sacrifice the present for a finish line that keeps backing away. You trade your time, your sleep, and your relationships for a future feeling that never arrives. You refuse to let yourself enjoy what you have, convinced that contentment means going soft. And by postponing your presence until after the next financial goal, you quietly teach your kids that enough is never enough, handing them the same restless anxiety. The deepest tragedy is you can be objectively secure, perfectly well-funded, and yet live a life paralyzed by the anxiety of someone in actual danger. You confuse a number with a feeling, and only one of them is the real goal. The six is to pull apart the two tangled questions hiding inside rich enough. One is literal math. How much do I need? The other is emotion. Am I okay? The anxiety comes from asking your bank account to answer that second question. It can't. To stop the hum, you have to define your specific enough on purpose. Write down the actual life it pays for, the bills, the safety buffer, the few things you truly value. You have to turn a vague, rising fall in anxiety into a hard, crossable finish line. Then try this nightly practice. Write down one concrete thing your money bought you that day: a warm home, a warm meal, a quiet morning. You must actively train your brain to register the gains it keeps skipping past. You are allowed to keep growing. You are allowed to keep earning. But if you will never feel rich at a higher number than you do right now, you need to grant yourself permission to feel the safety you have already built.